Interesting guest. I read about him, and his name is Marty Rathbun, and he is out of the Church of Scientology, and he was the almost second in command, and it's crazy stuff. The guy's name is Lawrence Wallersheim, and Wallersheim lives in Boulder, and I got to become his. This is where the wheels came off for me with Scientology, is when I was, well, I don't know, like it was like in the middle 80s or something. I can't remember, but he won damages from the church, and his house got raided, and he founded this organization. I think it was called FactNet. So for the people who just join us, Marty, give just a really capsulized what happened.
I wasn't involved at the beginning of that suit. I was off for a couple of years on the church's ship in the Caribbean training, and when I came back, it had already been started. So I may be a little bit sketchy on some of the initial stuff, but he essentially had what we call upper-level materials, which are sacred scripture of the church. They're unpublished materials, and they've been out and available for years, and the church has sort of pretended with their own people that they're not. In either event, he was sued for an injunction in federal court and got an injunction which included, because it involved intellectual properties, included using federal agents to raid his house and seize the offending material.
And that's when I met him. And
Okay.
He was looking for somebody to make his story public. He
Yeah.
was really living in fear. He really was.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is I was involved in the lawsuit that he was involved in, and he, that thing went to trial. He had a damages lawsuit against the church back in the 80s, 86, I believe it went to trial.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was that when it was? Okay.
Yeah, and he got a $30 million judgment, went up on appeal, came back down 2 years later, reduced to 2.5. Miscavige had vowed, not one thin dime to Wallersheim, and forced us to continue to appeal it, which we did for 12 years. Ultimately, the interest on the judgment went up to $8 million, and we had to write him a check for $8 million in the year 2000. Probably spent twice that much attempting to appeal it for those 14 years.
So, now moving on, are you still a believer, choice of words, in the theology of Scientology?
Well, believer is an interesting choice of words, because I don't really think it's a system of belief, but I think there's a philosophy that has a lot to recommend it. There's a great deal of it that I think is usable and workable for people.
Okay. What aspects of it?
Pardon me?
Which part of the theology, and mind you, I'm pretty well versed, do you think is usable?
Well, I think that the whole auditing process, and I think that the discipline that is trained into an auditor or a counselor, I think is something that could be used universally, not just within Scientology. I think it's very workable and usable, and I use it myself to this day.
Do you really believe that 75 million years ago the alien galactic ruler Xenu did all of these things?
I don't believe anything.
Do you well, I know
that's one thing, is that I don't believe anything, and I think that there's a tremendous amount of defensiveness.
Well, I'm not being defensive. I'm simply
no.
asking a
I'm
question.
not talking about you.
Yeah.
I'm saying from the church's perspective,
Okay.
there's a tremendous amount of defensiveness in taking things too literally. Like, I
do you
think that
believe?
there's.
I mean, seriously.
I think there's. It's just like biblical things. I think that I think that it has to do with, you got to look at it with an open mind, and you got to look at it from what message you can get.
Okay,
from
but
it,
you're hedging me. But Christians believe what Christians believe. Muslims believe what Muslims believe. It all comes back to a prime mover. Do you believe 75 million years ago, the galactic ruler Xenu, who was, I think, in charge of 76 planets, including, how do you pronounce it, Tigikak, the planet Earth? Do you believe any of that stuff?
You know what? I don't believe it. I don't believe anything.
Then,
I don't believe anything. I believe that there. First of all, you said about the prime mover unmoved. That has nothing to do with that. This is just some.
Xenu's the prime mover.
This is some collateral story by which you can get something.
No, it's the basis.
No, it isn't. The prime mover unmoved is covered in the factors and the axioms of Scientology.
Do I have Thetans?
It has to do with an individual and the spirit's involvement in the creation of the material universe.
You're saying a lot of words. Are there Thetans in my body?
No.
Then you can't be a Scientologist, can you?
Well, I don't believe that.
Well,
I believe that it's that if you really look at, you talk about the fundamental.
No, I'm not talking about the fundamental principles of the Church of Scientology. I know them.
But those aren't fundamental principles of the Church of
Wait
Scientology.
a minute. The whole idea of 75 million years ago, the galactic ruler Xenu, he sends the things down to the earth and puts them in the volcanoes. Why is the volcano on the Dianetics cover?
Well, see that now you're getting into a whole different thing. Like we can talk about the Bible. No,
I want to get into it. Why is
I know, but you want to get into it. But
yes, I do.
See, you should call somebody else.
No.
I don't believe anything. Number one, I don't believe anything. Number two, I think that all of this is taking something out of context.
No, it's not. I read it.
Which is something that I know you read it, but
okay.
I'm saying you're taking it out of context because you think it's a central thing, and I'm telling you right now that it isn't. From
all
my
these people who want to go
from my perspective, it's like the story of Moses, or it's the story of Jonah surviving the belly of the whale.
Well, give me the rest of it.
These are things that you might divine something from, but they're analogies, they're stories, they're not central fundamental.
Well,
principles.
Then why do I get audited if I can't get the?
Why do you get audited is to really, and again, this is where I think Scientology has gone astray and gone awry, is you get audited to help you to review your life, look at it, and come to a point of regaining yourself and your self-determinism.
But don't I have to get the dead space aliens out of me before I can be clear?
No.
What do I get out of me then? Why do I get audited?
What you do is you get your self-determinism, your ability to change your considerations, and your ability to be causation over your own life. I mean, that's what it's really about.
That's double speak. I want to know is.
Well, it's not double speak.
Sure, it is.
It's what it is. I mean,
are the spirits of the aliens in me?
No.
What's in me that I got to get out of me?
Your own considerations.
Which come from?
Which come from yourself.
Nah, they don't come from those things Xenu sent down here.
No, but you know what? You can go to the Church of Scientology, and I'm sure that they'll.
Oh, he does? All right, cool.
They'll approach it in that perspective, and I think this is the complete reverse of what really Scientology is supposed to be. It's supposed to be, man is the effect of barriers of his own creation.
Okay,
that really is the fundamental. That is really the. You want to talk about fundamental beliefs? That really is what the fundamental.
Here's a caller who says his name's Dan. He's a Scientologist.
Oh,
Dan, you're on the show.
Peter, I'm an ex-Scientologist. I was in Scientology for 15 years. I have many family members that are still in Scientology. And Marty is lying.
Of course he is. What more do I need to say? Why does Marty lie here, Dan?
You know what? I don't quite understand it because all of these things that you have brought up are part of the core beliefs.
Of course they are. And every time I've had this conversation with Scientologists, they say it's not true. And they're allowed to do that because it's called divine deception. The Unification Church does it. All these guys do it.
But I think what the deal is, there's a power play going on between Marty as an ex. Mm-hmm. He was very high. I know Marty. He's very high up. He's got a power play going with other Scientologists that are trying to take over the church exactly the same way David Miscavige did.
Do you disagree with that, Marty?
Yes.
Well, then, I'm telling you, it's like if I didn't believe the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, I'd say, I don't believe that, but I'm a Catholic. And you say you don't believe all the stuff about Xenu and the volcanoes and the rest of this stuff, but you're a Scientologist. Mm-hmm. I think you're conning me, bro.
They're all just playing for money and power.
Are you still a practicing Scientologist, Marty?
Yes, sir.
The spirits of the aliens.
I know, Peter, but you want to fixate on one thing. That's fine.
Well, if you don't believe it, then why do you practice it?
I'm not in the Church of Scientology, and I'm free to believe what I believe what I want.
Marty,
to believe.
It's your mouth. You can haul coal in it. But what I'm trying to say is, did Xenu control the overpopulation planets 170 whatever it was 75 million years ago? Did that happen?
No.
Does he?
Dan, is he lying? Of course he's.
Well,
this is great.
I love it.
Keep him on all hour. Keep him on all morning.
Yeah, all right. Marty, would you like a last comment to Dan?
Not really.
Dan, would you like a last comment to Marty?
You know what? Sometime you should have Marty and Jerry Armstrong on at the same time.
I've had Lawrence Wallersheim on. I've read what Lawrence Wallersheim had, and I got to tell you, folks, for all you planning to move up, what's called moving up to the bridge? Dan, what is that, moving up to the bridge?
It's going up to the OT level, so
That's
you can
it.
operate as a Thetan. So
That's
you
it.
get rid of your body Thetan.
See, I'm hip. And Marty, you say you don't believe any of that, but you're a Scientologist. It's like saying, I don't believe in the Ten Commandments, but I'm a Hebrew. I mean, come on, guys, it's not working for me. I love you both, but come on, you got to.
Anyway, I'm your go-to guy on Scientologist.
I'm on their list. I thought it was, but.
Oh, I'm declared too. I'm a declared suppressive also.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's cool. It's all right.
Hey, man, we're cool.
All right, thanks, bro.
Hey, love you, man.
All right, man, you too. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Marty?
Peter, yes.
Okay. Let's say it after the break. We'll say it after the break. It's 7:32, 28 before the hour. Let's get you to work. Susan in traffic. I want to be on your side, but you're telling me that you're a Scientologist, but you don't believe any of this theology, and I'm stumped. I'm stuck. Help me.
Peter, it's pretty simple.
Right.
There's a movement that's sort of afoot for the past 3 years of what we call independent Scientologists, people who have left the church because they see a fundamental dichotomy and irony and anomaly where
elaborate. Saying your words like that. Elaborate what you mean, please.
Okay, the whole philosophy is predicated upon the idea that you can't force belief upon person.
No, it's not. I'm sorry.
No. All right. Well, then, can I? You said I could make a statement to finish up.
Okay.
And I just want to say that's our. Whether it's not or it isn't, I'm just telling you what independent Scientology is.
Well, then you're not a Scientologist anymore.
Well, see, I disagree with that.
Call it something else.
Okay.
It's like saying
whatever you say. But my point is this. I'm just saying that independent Scientology is within independent Scientology, you're free to believe or not believe whatever you want, right. And no belief is enforced upon you, and that there's a lot of good within Scientology that you can use to improve your life. I mean, you just had a commercial. You just had a commercial on with Tony Robbins, who's now a recognized, life mentor.
I don't have much use for Tony Robbins either.
Coach to the stars.
So what?
Else.
I don't care about him either. Why compare? Why compare? I don't care about him.
Why I'm comparing is because Tony Robbins got his start in Scientology.
Okay, I knew that.
Yeah. He found certain things within it that he felt were workable, and he went out, and apparently the world is, a lot of people have found them workable.
Like what? What did he get from Scientology that made him great?
Well, perhaps communication skills.
Look, if I no longer believe in divinity of Christ, am I still a Christian?
Sure.
Okay. If I don't believe that Muhammad brought the truth, am I a Muslim?
But see, that's a thing, Peter. If you have an open mind or you don't have an open
mind. No, I don't have an open mind. I have a closed mind.
Because I happen to have done a lot of historical research on the life of Christ.
Yeah.
And I think that
I'm not a Christian,
studying Christ as a man
you guys are great.
And studying the lessons that he taught
you guys are great.
Is a lot more philosophically enlightening
then you're a humanist.
Than getting on your knees and praying to him.
Well, and then you're a humanist. Then you're no longer a Christian.
Okay, well, see, you want to label everything.
No, I don't. You're the one who's saying you're a Scientologist.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm an independent Scientologist, and I'm just trying to make a differentiation between, independent Scientology and the corporate or radical Scientology.
Right.
Anyway, Peter,
I
understand what your views are, and I appreciate them. But let me say one thing.
Right.
One differentiation between independent Scientology and the radical corporate Scientology, and that is this. You said your name's on their list. Mm-hmm. Your name doesn't go on a list with independent Scientology.
Not yet.
It doesn't exist. There's no organization. It's all individuals following things as they see fit, and there's no enforcement of beliefs or ideas.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. All right, okay, everybody. All right. Now, without further ado, let me sort of tell you, Sheik, where's our dating game music? Let's tell people about Scientology. Huh? Can we find that for us? I mean, the guy's jiving me, and it's in the Moonies, it's called divine deception. Other places use it that way. They're mystery religions. I talked about this earlier. Historically, Christianity was initially one of the mystery religions, they were all over Rome and the empire. There were mystery religions. The only people who knew about it were the people on the inside. Everybody else, it was a mystery.